Dad, I'm back from college.
Oh, were you gone?
Our heifers are gonna start calving here in about 10 days. And so we're getting ready. We're putting bedding in where we calve at. And we're gonna move some stuff around. Dad also bought a couple windbreaks. He bought 4 actually. And we're gonna set up 2 and make a little pen for our heifers over here. And so we gotta run around and do a couple things. The sun's falling quickly, so we won't get everything done we want to today. And tomorrow we're gonna sort our heifers up and bring the ones that are close to calving and put them in this building overnight.
Hook both chains up evenly.
Okay. Oh man, I did a bad job. So for both of these, we're gonna carry them over to the legs, which I already took the bolts out of, and then we're just gonna set it down. The legs are kind of heavy, and then we're gonna be moving them out over there. Just want to remind you guys that the Sonne Farms merch is still for sale. And so if you just click on the link below, you'll see that stuff. We got hats, shirts, sweatshirts, and a sticker. A couple people have been receiving them. They said they like it, good quality stuff. And it seems like the sizes are running right on. And so don't be afraid to check those out. So we got the 2 windbreaks that we just put together out here. And we're right next to the barn. We had these heifers ultrasounded, and so we know about approximately when they're gonna calve. And so we're gonna bring up the first cycle first, and there's only 7 out of the 40 or 50 that are in the first cycle. And so they'll be in the building at night in case they happen to calve. And then during the day, they'll be coming through the barn and they'll be in this area. That way they can spend more time out here and they're not pooping in that building and getting it dirty. And we're just gonna set these up better.
The other thing we could do is, since the northwest wind is going to blow between the building and the windbreak, we could actually overlap the windbreak in front of that a little bit, and that'll give us some more room over there.
It'll be hard to grab onto that panel and set it right there when you know you got to be on the back side of it and there's that pile of poo.
Yeah, we'll get it.
All right.
And part of the reason why we're using a freestanding panel there is when we feed hay, it's a lot easier to dump over the top of that than to try to dump over the windbreak. So.
We've been using this same strategy in the past, and we've usually just been running panels from this corner of the building across, but it ends up getting really sloppy. And so we've basically, I mean, we've increased the area about 5 times. That way, hopefully it won't get so sloppy. Plus, as long as the ground's frozen, it's kind of funny how in South Dakota, we really need that ground to be frozen during the winter, because otherwise it's just way too muddy half the time. And so they call it the poor man's concrete, and it's really helpful when the ground is frozen. I would rather calve in 29-degree weather over 33-degree weather any day, because when it's frozen, it makes it a lot easier. We're having an issue because you gotta be somewhat parallel to these, but because of the mud, we're all tilted and we can't get underneath both these teeth. So that'll help block the wind coming in from the northwest. And then we're gonna set that one kind of like this, and then have that one kind of angled out too, that freestanding panel. You look kind of bummed out.
Well, I put a dent in the new windbreak, but you know, I was fighting that I don't know if you saw where I was sinking in over there, so I had to come in at an angle because of that mound. And
you know, I think there's actually a law that if you're gonna have one of these windbreaks, you got to put a dent in it on the first day.
well, I'm legal then.
Yeah. So we got to just dent this one, and then.
Well, don't you think it's going to get dented eventually anyway?
I might dent it in a minute here.
Yeah.
You can see how muddy. I mean, this one just filled up with water. So the water table's obviously really high. Another issue we have is the septic tank for the shed here is right there, and so we couldn't flush the toilet or use the sink all summer because the water table was so high. I think it's called the septic tank. The water wasn't running out of it. And so, yeah, but since it's so wet back there and we're tipping and we're not able to move I can't think of the words. We're not able to move the windbreaks. I'm gonna grab the skid loader and hopefully that won't dig into the ground as much, and we'll position them with that. We got this pen pretty well set up. We just gotta add some chains on the corners, and Dad's gonna put a bale in bale feeder, and he's also gonna head in the building. We got 2.5 bale, well, 2 bales and a broken bale in there. He's gonna cut the net wrap off, throw that away so I don't have to, right? All right. And then I'm gonna spread those around with the skid loader. We got a couple main areas in this kit.
I got blue ball.
We got a couple main spots in this calving building. Our biggest one is this big loafing area. This is where the heifers hang out at before they've calved and they're getting ready to. And then the next area is a smaller one right here. And so once they calve, if the weather's not nice, we put that new mom and a new calf in this pen. That way they're away from all the others. There's less bacteria and disease in there, and also less risk of them getting trampled on, the new calves. And then we also have 5 10 by 10 foot pens in this area. All the gates are open so you can't see each individual pen. And we have our calving pen right there, which is where we pull all of our calves when the cows are having problems with them. So I'm gonna use the skid loader, spread those out, and once we do get into calving season, we usually clean out this bedding almost every week, maybe 2 weeks if we're lucky. Yeah.
Did you see on that last video somebody commented that I'm the star of one of your videos?
Yeah. You got a big head now about it?
No, I just gonna say that guy's got things figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's a pretty smart guy.
That'll probably be harder putting back in, huh?
Maybe. Hey, you want to know what I'm disgusted about?
What?
I did a shout out to Billie Eilish. She hasn't got back to me yet.
So in the past, we always used that green gate right there to let the heifers go out from the barn and eat food, but it kind of ruined our cattle working area and sorting area. And so we've never used this side panel right here before. I think you gotta karate kick it. Nice. Oh, that's pretty sweet. And so now this will allow them to go straight from the building off the concrete and over to that bale over there. Had a little bit extra hay in here. You can see it's kind of tough spreading it around. You get big lumps and then places where there's nothing. But I'll spread it around by hand a little bit, and the cattle, once they get in here, will spread it around as well. And then we have a big pile left in the corner, so once it gets a little sloppy, we'll be able to just put some more up on top before we end up taking it all out.
Did you tell them that we usually use oat straw or wheat straw, but this time we got millet?
Yeah, or corn stalks.
Yeah, because we don't have much of that this year, so we're...
Yeah, it was too wet putting up corn stalks, and we actually didn't put any up this year. But we did have a lot of millet, if you remember us, all that time we spent drilling. And so we got a big millet crop, and it's not the best quality stuff, and so that's why we decided to use it for bedding. They might end up eating quite a bit of it.
Is it pointing at you or pointing at the straw? That thing?
There's only one side of the camera.
What do you mean?
What do you...
Is that pointing at you?
Yeah.
So if you turn it around, it's pointing at the straw.
Well, I was explaining.
Yeah, I know, but I was asking you, is it pointing at you or pointing at the straw?
No, now it's pointing at the straw.
Okay.
Now it's pointing at you.
Okay.
Later,
they're probably going to eat a lot of that bedding just because they like the taste of that millet.
Later, I can teach you what a computer is.
Is that something to do with the internet?
Oh, that's about it for today. Tomorrow, we're going to get the heifers up and sort that first cycle off, and then they'll be sleeping in the barn, and then during the day, eating on the bale.